Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan is facing the worst crisis of his political career. Ahead of the crucial no-confidence vote, which is scheduled to take place on the 21st of March, a total of 24 lawmakers have now decided to leave Imran Khan's party. They have instead threatened to vote against the Prime Minister. And in the last-ditch attempt to save his government, Imran Khan met with the Pakistan Army Chief Qamar Javed Bajwa. The meeting is speculated to have revolved around the recent political developments in the country. The Pakistan Prime Minister has also called for a meeting of his party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf's political committee. The meeting, which is expected to review the fast-changing political situation in the country, will take place later. The Pakistan Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry has said that the government will now file a presidential reference under Article 186 of the Constitution for the interpretation of Article 63A, further questioning the legal status of the vote. The government of Pakistan says that these lawmakers have been bribed. It says that they have, quote-unquote, sold their souls for money. It has accused them of horse trading and vowed to take strong action. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Information Minister has further confirmed on issuing show-cause notices to 24 lawmakers who were lodged at a resort in Islamabad called the Palatial Sindh House, which recently came under an attack on Friday after the ruling party, that is Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf lawmakers and workers, stormed the Sindh House in Islamabad in protest against the dissident members of the ruling party. Visuals on your screen now show dozens of activists of Imran Khan's PTI barging into the Sindh House and chanting slogans against a group of estranged lawmakers. And because of the recent political chaos in the country, Pakistan and Australia one-day internationals and 2020 match have now been moved from Rawalpindi to Lahore. With only 2 days left for the no-confidence motion, the final vote will be held on Monday, the 21st of March, that is. The opposition needs 172 votes to dethrone Imran Khan. It currently has 162, and as of now, 24 lawmakers have decided to vote against Imran Khan. And the next 48 hours will only be able to tell us if the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan will be able to hang on to power or not. And for more insights into Pakistan politics, joining us now live from Pakistan is Amir Shaheen, a senior journalist. Amir, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to WION World is One.
Thank you for having me.
My first question to you, as we understand, multiple lawmakers have decided to leave Imran Khan's party. They have threatened to vote against the Prime Minister. How will all this impact the career of the embattled Prime Minister?
I think what we need to understand is that these 24 people have confirmed, and there's more than 24. A lot of videos have come out of members of parliament announcing their defection from Imran Khan and his government. But these people are originally, they belong to Nawaz Sharif and Zardaris as well. These are the electables on which, we have done a lot of investigation. Very soon, we're going to release videos of these same members of parliaments who are taking money and other kinds of bribes to leave the opposition and go to Imran Khan's government. Obviously spearheaded by the military establishment, supported by the judicial establishment. We've been trying to release this. This report costed us lives as well. So the issue here is Imran Khan is in trouble the same way Prime Minister Gilani and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, all the way to Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, who was also hanged, were in trouble. Should we celebrate? Of course, on one side, getting rid of Pakistan's Trump, Imran Khan might be a good thing. Maybe we'll be able to hold a match in Rawalpindi. But on the long run, if Imran Khan is stopped to complete his tenure 2 years before the time, then we're repeating the history. Imran Khan became the next Nawaz Sharif, and then Nawaz Sharif or Shehbaz Sharif will become the next Imran Khan. Because everybody knows that two wrongs don't make a right. And this is not even a matter of two wrongs. This is a series of wrongs happening over 7 decades. So in order to, the only difference between Nawaz Sharif and Zardari, I shouldn't say the only, but the main difference when it comes to who's really in power, which is the military establishment and the judiciary and some parts of the bureaucracy, The real difference here in terms of Imran Khan was the unstable prime minister. He was so unstable that he would even go out in the public, and when the military was not supporting him the way it was, like coming all out and supporting him, he started calling even the military animals, because animals are neutral and you're being animals. So if you take out the crazy from the regime, this is the repeat of every regime in which the selectors, which is the military establishment, selects those people who give a better pitch how they will serve the interests of the military establishment if they are made into a prime minister. This is what's happened.
Absolutely, Amir. From whatever you're saying, it's clear that you're pointing to a larger issue of in Pakistan politics as of now. Just a follow-up to that, the Pakistan government will now petition the Supreme Court to seek a ruling on whether defectors from Imran Khan's party could lose their seats ahead of the no-confidence vote against him. How will all this pan out, in your opinion?
The biggest player of this whole scenario, I mean, they're reaching the courts, but the court is the second biggest player. The courts, let's see what the courts have been doing. The courts, when Imran Khan came into power, have not convicted any of his members who were going to be convicted. They were definitely going to be convicted if they didn't join the government. So right now, the biggest player of it all has not shown his cards. And if you look at what these people who are defecting, the allies of, these purchasable member of National Assembly, and these kind of purchasable, not only with money, but also with seats and tickets and also, other incentives, these people are still talking about, they're still talking about how military was disrespected and how the military should not have been disrespected by Imran Khan. And if Imran Khan fixes his terms with the military, then there's always the possibility of taking a U-turn. I mean, these people are the masters of U-turn. They've worked with everyone that the military has asked them to do. So right now, the opposition has a lot more numbers. I mean, 24 have been collected at the Sindh House, but there's around 36 people who have openly defected. The opposition just needed 6 to 7 votes to change the government. So 26 means that if the military establishment steps in, because this is not the first time that the opposition has a majority. It happened before. A tiny majority was gained back in the days. But when the vote of no confidence motion was being talked about, the military establishment came in and picked up some people and did what we call in Pakistan a software update on them. So, of course, it looks like that Imran Khan is a goner. But the biggest player, just imagine Sachin Tendulkar is still to that. India cannot just give up right now. So similarly, those who support Imran Khan are not willing to give up because the military establishment hasn't even flexed its muscle yet. And if we look at the history of Pakistan, it will, whether it's in the favor of Imran Khan or not. But Imran Khan is as safe as any other person like Zardari or Nawaz Sharif because the lion will tell what will happen, not the goats.
Absolutely. So Emir, from what I understand, I'm sorry to interject at this point, you clearly spelling out the role of the military establishment in all of this. Just for the sake of simplicity for our viewers, your assessment, and a final question here, can Imran Khan hang on to power? And if yes, for how long?
Imran Khan can only hang into power. He can be selected for the next 5 years as well. Only if what's happening continues to happen. What's happening right now is those electables, those very few people are going to decide who forms the government, and they are coming on television and saying, we will do as we are told by the military, in different words. So can Imran Khan sustain his rule? Of course, Imran Khan can sustain his rule. The game is not over till it's over, especially because the game hasn't even started yet. The courts could give out an unprecedented, let's not forget, he's just met the Chief of Army Staff. Imran Khan has just met the Chief of Army Staff. So that's another game changer. The Chief of Army Staff, the military is not telling journalists. The military would come and put curbs on you if you talk about the historical perspectives of how the military actually came into power, which is a fact. But the military is not stopping any politician or anchor into talking about how the military still can turn the tables. The military is not holding any exception to that. They're not telling anchors, as they usually do. They're not dictating anybody. They don't say this, that the military can still turn the tables. So it would be naive to think that Right now, the situation is clear that Prime Minister Imran Khan, as soon as the session of no confidence motion is held, is a goner. Right now, that is the case. But these people, it is not so difficult to imagine the very people right now who have defected from Imran Khan, calling him corrupt and all those crazy things, have been calling Zardari and Nawaz Sharif corrupt and Daku and murderer and terrorist and all those things too. So right now, if anybody says the game is over for Imran Khan, I want to remind them this is not the first time the opposition has more votes than Imran Khan. The kingmakers, those who make the king, the puppet government of Nawaz Sharif, of Zardari, of Imran Khan, are still very much in charge, and there are some things that still can be compromised on. Imran Khan has to change, the chief minister has to do a few more things, and all these turncoats, all these purchasable commodities will be back with Imran Khan. The opposition is making a grave mistake of getting rid of Imran Khan at such a high price that the very people who enabled Imran Khan to come into power are being given the reins of the country again. The opposition is going to mess up really bad, even if it succeeds in getting rid of Imran Khan. The military is going to decide what will happen to Imran Khan and his government.
Right, absolutely, Amir. Thank you so much for summing that up so well for us. Clearly, you've said that the military will play a crucial role in what happens, especially in Imran Khan's political future. Thanks so much for joining us on WION World is One.
Thank you for having me.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.